Pulaski Road means to you?
You get that one from? Where you get that one from?
Like I've heard you talk about Pulaski Road, Pulaski Road. I do my research.
Okay, I love it. I love it.
And because I know you, so Pulaski Road is something dear to your heart.
Without a question.
Tell me about it. What does it mean to you, and how are you representing?
West side of Chicago, born and bred. If you say Pulaski, that's the whole thing. I'm a Pulaski boy. That means a lot. So coming from where I come from Chicago on the west side, Pulaski is the Milwaukee equivalent to y'all on the east side. I will be honest with that. It has a bad reputation for the city. They say, it's in the Garfield Parkway. So it is in one of the high homicide rates of the country. Similar to the 53206. I was born in Bridget. My grandfather was the first black man to buy a house in the neighborhood, and the white family still fighting behind it. And he organized the men in that neighborhood. He worked with other men in that neighborhood to let them know they weren't going nowhere. And that passed down to the next generation, which is my mom, to my cousins, and my uncles. And then when it gets to us, when we say Pulaski, that's our safe haven, that's our safe home. I'm a Pulaski boy, meaning I was in that lifestyle, from hanging out to...
So were you deep in it? How deep were you into?
My father was a hustler.
Okay.
And he ran a certain part of the hustle. Pulaski is the originator of where a certain gang came from in Chicago. Those guys who went on to run things were my best friends when we were kids. I was right there with them every day, all day, doing everything until my grandmother sent me to California. Had she not sent me to California, I'm just going to be okay. I'll say this on camera and I say this in an interview.
Yeah.
I probably would have had maybe 2 years before I would have done something to somebody.
What age were you?
14.
Okay.
14.
Sent you to Cal.
She sent me to
What part?
You would not believe. Porterville, California.
Never heard of it.
28,000 people. It's more people in my neighborhood than it is in Porterville. It was life-saving, right? She sent me down there. I was deep enough that you knew who I was. And I knew who you were. And it was deep enough where the night before she sent me, I got shot at.
Wow.
But she wouldn't know that. My mother wouldn't know that. My family didn't know that because I was doing yes ma'am and no ma'am. But when I went outside with my guys, well, look at it this way. My new novel is called 1984, and I tell a story about the last time we were all in the woods. In 1983, the summer before she sent me to California, hanging out on Pulaski. Listen, my friend Gus is good. Cat Eye Chris is dead. Junior Billy Boy is, I don't know exactly what he is or not. And Randy is in jail. That was my main crew. So what do you think it would have ended up?
Right.
It was going to end up there. Sports wasn't anything that I was going to find my way in there. So
did you give her trouble? Or you was just like, yes, ma'am?
No, I gave her trouble in my grades to like 6th grade to 7th grade.
What I'm talking about is when she sent you off. Were you like rebellious?
The word was getting down. What I think happened is the word started getting down.
Okay.
That I was, right? Because that summer is crazy. That summer, I was in everything. Whatever you can imagine, the boys eating. I never stole a car or anything, but I was into fighting, throwing up signs. Let's go get so and so.
Yeah.
Who got a gun, belt buckles. I was into all of that. And I think what happened, I told her, she asked me something, and I just said, well, everybody is doing this. And I think she caught what I said. And I said, well, I don't know, Mom. And I don't know why I said this. I was like, Mom, well, I don't know. I don't know what else to do. And she called, next day, Mom called me. And 2 weeks later, I was in California.
Wow.
Porterville, California. But I go to this when you say Pulaski. Because when you used to get in trouble, you used to say stuff like, just get back to Pulaski. So all you got to do is get back to Pulaski. If you play basketball, you're like, they off Pulaski. But I use it for now to say, I made it. And I don't want my boys and my people and the people I love and any crew going up there not to understand that you can go through all that, get through all that, and become something. So when I take an award, if I don't care if I'm in the room with Barack Obama, And I've been in the room with some of the most distinguished men and women in this country. But I always say that I'm a West Side boy from Pulaski. And that's to give hope to my guys. It's nothing more empowering for me and inspiring when one of my guys is like, yo, I just saw you on TED Talks.
Yeah.
I just saw you on so-and-so. Or I went back to my old high school. So when you asked what Pulaski is, I went back to my old high school to get inducted to my high school Hall of Fame. And I went back and I walked past my old locker and I thought about how we was just hanging out in the locker, not going to class, just being. And I saw a young man, I read my book to him, and he said, where you from? I told him I'm on the He said, I live on Gladys and Springfield. He said, you really come from that? I said, sit down and I'll tell you.
Right.
I could see in his eyes that he caught it.
Yeah.
That there was some hope. Because I had some hope when I saw Isaiah Thomas say he was from a certain part of the West Side. I traced it. I was like, let's down the street.
Yeah.
And I'm watching him talk, and I was like, I can do that.
Yeah.
So that's what Pulaski means. And I still got people on Pulaski. Lost a lot of friends on Pulaski. I'm glad, but I'm surprised you know that. Because when people say Pulaski, it means something.
Oh, most definitely, brother. I do my homework.
I love it.
I love it. Yeah. So I knew that was close and dear to your heart, and I like how you translated it into what you do today and reminding people where you're from. But I want to take it back to your grandfather because I do believe, what's in our roots and what's in our blood, it does trickle down. So what is that you have, this activism? Like, I know you have the experience, you say you were involved in the streets. So, now what you're doing today, that is your way of, like, pouring back.
Mm-hmm.
But you had a grandfather said that made a move, bought a home.
Yeah.
What are some skills and character traits that you think that you embody from him?
So let me answer it this way. Because I want to make this disclaimer. My street involvement was enough. And those who from Chicago know you associate in the field. Meaning, I live on this block, I be with so-and-so, so therefore I am with so-and-so, even when you're not, right? So, Chicago is one time people used to say it's a gang city, it's not, it's a gang culture. So, culture, I use that word a lot because culture ties into every part of who we are. So, our streets at one time were linked to our politics. Our politics were linked to our streets, and our streets was linked to our family. You get a whole, when a kid joins into that lifestyle, they're looking for something they don't have. And at that time, you're talking about a bunch of young boys who didn't have that thing. So I get that from, not only from my grandfather, but I get that from my neighborhood. I'm organizing in that way. You organize your sports, all of it. So my grandfather was born and bred in Alabama. 6'5", 6'6" black man, 300 and something pounds, solid. Right, my mother and grandmother, beautiful, light-skinned lady, small and petite, half Native American. They moved to the West Side at that time. Like most cities, this was before the white flight. This was a beautiful neighborhood. A white man mistaken my grandmother's for her. He said something to her, but she wouldn't say anything back. He kept talking to her, and my grandfather's friend told him, son-in-law, that man was trying to talk. And when my grandfather got over there, he found out she was black. He called her finally the My grandfather came from Alabama. It's a legendary story that most black men from Alabama, Arkansas, Mississippi up to Chicago because they either fought or had to run, or they was not taking any of the Jim Crow stuff. And that's known in our family. My uncle was not having. When I met up persuasion, said something to him, and he moved to Chicago. That's how it went. So they threw the firebomb to our house. And my grandfather went out there, slid out there like a woman, right? And the other men moved, and they organized. So that was my first understanding. I wasn't born, but that was my understanding of organizing. What did I learn from my grandfather? Well, he had a stroke, right? Only thing he'd say was away, because that was right? But I sat with him every day. I walked to the store with him. And this is something I remember. I remember walking to the store with him as a little boy, and every man in the neighborhood speaks to him.
Mm.
And he had two strokes,
Okay.
and he still walked, and he still got up, and we walked to the store. There was not a man that say, "Hey, Mr. Nixon."
The respect that he had.
So I'm a little boy. I don't know, but I just know that. I found out later how my uncle said how my grandfather poor people together, right? Then you take in my family. My grandmother was staunch on family. It's just we don't need nobody else. We family. And you take my dad's brothers now. They were from legitimately. And I say legitimately, they were. And I got organizing from them, watching watching my dad.
Yeah.
My dad would do everything he did on the West Side. And you know what we would come home and watch when he come get me? We watched the rise and fall of the Roman Empire.
Mm.
We watched the ancient stories from Africa, the Sandinta. I forgot what it was. I can't pronounce it. We watched that. He watched The Godfather, Malcolm.
Mm-hmm.
He read the New Yorker regularly,
Mm-hmm.
Ebony Jet magazine, and we watched. And he said Richard Pryor was the greatest social political. So I'm getting all of this. I'm watching how he talked to his guys, and then later on in my sports, that was organized. And so my activism coming from watching that, and don't forget I saw Harold Washington. So you got to think of my upgrade.
Yeah, right.
So I grew up in the right time Chicago. I was 78. I'm 8 years old, 7 now. Jane Byrne becomes the first man female, right? She cleans the streets up, slowly and everything. You see her. My uncle worked directly for her.
Okay.
I had to go hand out signs with him.
Yeah.
Right? They made me stand in front of people and say the thing. That was my first incentive. Right after that, Harold Washington, first ever black man.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
He worked on his campaign. He created the first no black on black crime day, only black on black love day. So they gave out buttons throughout the city. It was a city because it was a gang city. It was citywide what they call Peace Street. So you were going through every neighborhood, and all you seeing people were saying black on black love, no black on black hate, no black on. That was a part of it. And then later on, even in the understanding of the neighborhood organization, that was organized. Who was who, what was what, who you talk to, how you do, what neighborhoods is what. That was still organizing. And right after that, Jesse Jackson runs from there.
Yeah, it was this event after event.
Farrakhan, the Nation Style.
Yeah.
My radio, I would listen to Gus Savage. If you had a chance, Gus Savage and Lou Palmer. You would hear them every day telling you like social political understanding. So I'm listening to all this. So I saw Black Pride my whole life. That was a part of what it was. So I didn't know anything about not being this. What we saw. So that's where a lot of my organizing comes from, seeing the Harold Washington campaign and seeing what we did in the neighborhood. The very events I drove came from learning how to organize.
Yeah. And so your education, like, yeah, of course we have school as an education system, but you really had, a good foundation of education of Black people, education of bringing people together, from, the streets to the streets, as you hear people say, you've had that worldview education.
Yeah, and I would say this too. Even my schooling, I went to Delano Elementary, right? Prior to a certain time, when you went to school in your neighborhood, there was a pride in it. Some of the teachers lived in the neighborhood. But some of those teachers and principals were committed to our upliftment. And I learned unconventionally. My classroom learning was this big compared to the teachers we had. I had Dr. Catino. I went to Delano. At the time, Delano became one of the, that's not known. It's closed now. There's a low reading stores, right? But when we were in Delano, the times of from 1980 to 1983, our scores were at the top in the city. Dr. Catino taught us the political, this is how you vote. This is what you have to do.
Yeah.
We had a mock vote.
Yeah.
Right? You have to run for office and all this. We learned that whole thing. Right? And then I went to Resurrection with some Catholic school. And there, I learned the whole thing about the neighborhoods we live in, the neighborhoods we live in, who we deal with, all of those things. So all of my education has something unconventional. And the way I got into poetry, when you say poetry, is the craziest story because the first poet I saw was Maya Angelou.
Oh, I love Maya.
But I didn't know she was. No, let me take that back. The first poet I saw was Gil Scott Heron.
Okay.
On Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
And he sung Johannesburg. And I was like, damn, I didn't know,
Yeah.
I just saw him with Shaka Vibe. He was singing.
I heard him. Yeah.
That's different. He did Revolution Would Not Be Televised, Message in the Bottle. And before he got strung out real bad, he did this album called Message to the Message, where he was talking with hip hop artists. Amazing. Look it up. Gil Scott Heron, Message to the Message. Kanye used sampled several of his speakers. Right? I saw him. I didn't know what it was, but I was just like, that's different. But I learned about my aunt and my dad. And he was, doing probably what he was doing, but I came to his house on the weekend. And I was doing something. I guess my grandmother called and said, you got to get on the breakfast, son. But he had me, he's like, sit down. He talked, sit down, Jack, go watch this. He made me watch Maya Angelou and Richard Pryor.
Really?
Richard Pryor.
Do you remember the age?
I was 8 years old.
8 years old.
And Richard Pryor and Maya Angelou, if you ever get a chance, you can go to Richard Pryor and Maya Angelou have an amazing skit called Willie. It's an amazing skit.
Check that out.
Willie is she does this monologue about how he started calling himself nigga. And how it's amazing. Yeah. And I think it helped one of the poems I write. It's one I wrote called Willie the Wise Wonder. Because it goes that he was a Vietnam veteran which shows his fault. Yeah. But I saw her on there and I was like, this is this. So my father got killed when I was I went to school. I've said this many times. When I went to school, I didn't tell anyone. I just went to class and talk.
Like nothing happened.
My grandmother at the time, my mom's mom, my grandma, she came from that generation. She loved me, but it just wasn't a
right.
The phone rang. I never forget. I'm sitting in the front room. I'm in the house early for whatever reason, and I'm watching the window. And I remember this feeling like something. I don't know what it is, but I remember a funny feeling.
Like something isn't right.
Right. And I remember the phone rang, and I never get up and go. I remember when the phone rang, I stood up. And I heard, I started walking towards my door. And I heard her say, and I got closer. I knew something was just clicking. I'm 11, and I remember her getting off the phone, and she just stopped and said, put your hand down. She didn't say it harshly, she just said it.
Yeah.
Because I want to paint the right picture of my grandmother. Born in 1915. Emotions is different. Her thing is to secure black men, make sure they're safe, not.
Right. Yeah.
And she said that, and she went in her room. And I went and sat back in the front.
And you was just there with your thoughts.
Yeah. My aunt at the time was having that trouble, so she just said,
did you ever think, and this is all before 12 years old, because at a certain age, by the time you become a certain age, even when you're in high school, like, you're basically who you are. And you're just continuing to add to the information. And so that was 11 years old. Did you ever think that one day my dad was
No.
Like that?
No.
No. That's something.
I knew what he was doing, but it never. You know what's crazy, when you ask that question? Let me say this. I have even to this day, a serious thing with getting close to him. I just realized that over the last maybe a week. Because the first person I was ever close to was my grandfather. And he died of cancer. And I realized that I didn't want to get close, an abandonment issue. I have a serious abandonment issue. I can go on record and say that now because of my work and therapy and things I did, but because the death has been a part of my life so much that I either can compartmentalize it, that's what happens. I can rationalize it, I can justify it, but at the end of the day, it's like, I ain't gonna get that close because if they die or something happens, or what if I die, Yeah. And upon my grandfather's death, I couldn't wrap my mind around he was gay. Right? So he died in 70. He died in 79.
So you were what age?
I'm turning 9 years old.
So 9, and then 2
I'm
years.
8 years old.
Okay.
And 3 years later, my
3
father.
years later.
So can I share this?
And that's 2 men that you've lost in your life. 2 important
Two
men.
important men. And I never knew my dad's father. Because I don't think he knew. I never knew my dad's father. I heard him talk about it one time, and it was real hype, and that's it.
I think that's important to know, and for us to just pause,
Mhm.
because there's so many brothers I know you work with, and just in the world who've experienced loss,
Yeah.
who's navigating the space without their fathers being in their life. That's tough. That's not easy.
You know what? And it's crazy because we just keep moving.
Yeah.
Because I just wrote this in my journal not too long ago. If you realize, think about it, my grandfather died at age to cancer, which I'm a super, super fearing of now. Because most of his brother died of cancer, and his brother died of cancer. And it's, so you understand what I mean?
Yeah, the pattern.
Right? So, at 8 years old, people talk about grandfather wisdom. I never got it. I got the nurture. I never got the grandfather wisdom because he didn't talk. Because it wasn't, and he was gone. By the time I'm coming of age, he's gone. And then I'm turning 11, right? I'm 11 years old. These are from 11 to 17 is the most important time of my life as a black girl. I'm going to need some training. And he's gone. So it's I can really say to people that I did a patchwork as I went along. I pulled from wherever I could. And I'm dealing with this way. Think about young black boys or men now, and I do real men real talk, where they don't have no understanding, no touch, no relationship, never seen their dad, nothing up. They don't even have a thought of what he could be.
Yeah.
Right?
You have no point of reference.
No point of reference. Everything is like, oh, and so when I hear guys say, man, I'll talk to my dad, I don't know that. Because I would give anything. And let me go deeper. I didn't bury either one of them until I was probably 30 years old. You understand? Meaning, somewhere in my mind, they was...
Right, yeah.
Right? Somewhere in my mind. It wasn't until I turned 30, when I went to the rites of passage, I started saying, they said, you have to let something go so you can move forward.
Wow, that is so deep. And it's so real. We all go through it, but for the brothers to go through it, in the process. Mm-hmm. And then for you guys, it's to be able to trust someone. That's a very touchy feeling.
Yeah. And you constantly looking for it. To this day, I'm always have an attraction for older brothers who can tell me something. I'll assume what talk to them. Because I would love to have that Uncle Phil moment. I think we romanticize it, right? Because most brothers that had their father say it don't happen in that fashion, right? There's no son teaching moment. It's a series of, right? You told me this and that. I went. So my uncles did take up the slack. My uncle that moved in California, Uncle D. Uncle D took me in. I talked to my uncle daily. That was my example of a black conscious black power, because he was with all of that.
Yeah. So you shifted from that trauma to that.
Well, when that trauma happened, I was really lost. I was like angry. I was really angry. I got in a lot of trouble. School didn't mean anything. I was ready to fight. I was probably fighting and didn't try. I went to school for 2 things: to wear good clothes. No, 3. Wear good clothes, crack jokes, and just be in the hallway.
And when I say shifting, meaning when you went out there to Cali, then that's what, you were...
No, when I went to Cali, it's only...
Okay.
So it's a culture shock.
Okay.
Right? But what's crazy that only a few people know? When I went to Cali, I became an athlete again. Because, at home, everybody wants to find an identity, right? But it's very dangerous when black boys are having that. It's very dangerous. They go trying to find where do I fit in, and whoever grabs you first is who you need to be. So, baseball, and now black boys play baseball again. But there was a time we had stopped. baseball is a direct correlation to fatherhood. Because that's the one thing you can't just pick up a glove and go play about. You learn baseball from a man 80% of the time. Come on, let's go out and play catch. Black fathers, ball with their sons. What happened as the 90s were? The father increased our students. Stopped playing baseball. I played baseball. Well, my father got there. He never saw the game. I learned baseball. It's crazy. Most of the dudes learn from their dad. Most of us learn from each other. And I didn't know how to play, but I saw all the boys play. So I was really good at baseball. I was good at football. I was decent at basketball. I learned from the older guys in the neighborhood. And once that slowly went away, the game thing did.
Yeah.
And that was where I was getting attention, right? I didn't get attention, but it was coming. It was coming, right? It's almost like they sit a bunch of us in a circle. They used to hold his watch. And they go, he gonna be a ladies' man. He gonna be good with his hands. And right there, he like the clothes. He like the money. You get your mentor. Right there. Oh, he like sports. You know what I mean? You get your mentor right hand in there.
Yeah.
Somebody come go with me. Knowingly and unknowingly. You know, organically or forced. You get your mentor. Right? Because they say when you're young and if we just young boys and we busting windows and running and we go in this candy store and take something, we don't get organized this older guy, older brother who comes and say, let me show y'all how to do it. That's when it changes for me. That's when it changes. Because it's all fun at first. And then somebody will say, let me show you how you really do it. And you do something as a boy that a man is supposed to do, and you never go back to being a boy. You'll never go back
Say
to
that
being a boy.
again.
Once you do something that a man is supposed to do,
Yeah.
you'll never go back to being a boy. Case in point, if I can. David and Goliath in the Bible, right? David was a boy, right? And he killed Goliath, right? And they tried to make him go back to being a boy. And he was like, I killed dudes. I went out there. Y'all was sport quartering over here. Now I'm not gonna be disrespectful. There ain't no boy around here no more.
Yeah. The game changed.
It's over.
The game
I went out and did what you didn't do. So if you have boys and they go, and the mother has to be mindful and makes them, if you tell a young black boy, you're going to be the head of the house one day, you're in trouble.
I really dislike that.
Yeah, because you're building an entitlement.
Yeah.
You got to earn it.
So much pressure, and it's not healthy.
It's not,
It's
but
not
it
healthy.
becomes a point of life. And if he goes and does something, pays a bill, makes domain, when no other man can start coming in, or he has an opinion without, he has a representation, let's say, without taxation, like that's going to change it. Because now, or he's raising his younger siblings. If I'm raising all my siblings, when I go to school, you can't tell me. Because I'm the man. I watched the young man when I was teaching. Yeah. In school, they called him the jerk, and I was one of them too. I watched him one day. He got all his assistants. He got his assistant and his brother. He took their coats off, set them down, opened up their milk, took their coats off, made sure they did their homework. Not that he could do his, but he made sure.
Yeah.
They do sit quietly, etc., etc., etc. Told them what to do, got them ready when it was time to go. His mother was an alcoholic, so he got the check to make sure, right? You can't ask him to be the way in school. See the man in the house quiet, right? So my dealing with him was totally different. My education and conversation with him was different. Because he's doing manly things. Only time he can be a boy is when he's in school acting up. Because other than that, he's the head of everything.
Right.
So you got to have an identity. I didn't have one in Washington, California. I had a man in the house for the first time. So my uncle, that was the first time I met, and he showed me what a man in the house was. Because I had never had one. But I was playing sports out there. But because I didn't have a discipline, I couldn't finish sports. I broke my arm before I got out there, right? And so I get out there, and if my uncle ever looked at this crazy story, I get out there. You can take the kid out of the city, but you can't take the city out of the city. So I brought all the city.
Okay.
I really made me a little group. I organized them.
Really?
I told them what we going to do and how we going to do it. I made them write the and my uncle saw it, and he said, somebody wrote this on here. How about that? And I got class with this girl out alone. City boy, And she got me in trouble. And I told her, you know, when I get out of school, you got a problem. You and your brother. So it ain't like us who they went back to the principal. You know,
Yeah.
you do that
Yeah.
here. They went like they went right to the
Right.
principal. Wasn't no plan. Mom got the letter. So and he said, somebody wrote these. I was like, man, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, what you say? I was like, so I go, man, enjoy my dad. You bagged up off me. Now, no, I'm cool. He's one of them guys.
And that was the first time you challenged him.
Oh, that was the last time. Because he
Okay.
made it real clear.
Yeah.
I will never forget it. He said, what you say? I said, yeah, you heard me. Ain't no boy. So daddy did. He went next thing. And I said, he said, oh, you a man, right? I said, yeah. Before I could get here out, that was one. Second one, wow. Third one, one. He said, what you what? I was like, he said, what you want? I'm bored. I said, and don't ever forget who the man is. Yeah, no problem. I'm not talking about, I still was doing things, but I got to understand it.
Right.
And that was,
Yeah.
and the only bad part about California, I didn't know what that was like.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that, like, they really were kids. They went to the ball on Saturday. They went to the movies on Saturday. They, you know, went to games. You know,
It was so different.
it was different.
Yeah.
You know, we went to the skating rink. It's a fight. We not intentionally, but it's gonna happen. Something. You know, you go to the mall, somebody steals. You know what? I had never seen what that was supposed to be. I had never.
Because it wasn't your norm.
No, I had never had two parents. His wife and him, and I never. And I always say, if I would have went back, it would have been different.
Okay.
But I mean, I wouldn't change it. But I didn't go back.
Yeah.
But that was the first time I had structure. But I do go back to what I was saying. I'm not going down how I did it. Because if you don't, you'll find whatever is calling you. If the streets calling you,
Yeah.
and that's where you get your encouragement and your affirmations. That's where you go. If a fraternity, I'm just saying, that's whoever come with the best offer,
Yeah.
and you don't have
That's
anything.
Yeah.
That's it. So when you say trust, I'm super on trust because when I was playing baseball, my coach turned out to be a pedophile.
Mm.
And that killed me with sports anyway. To this day, I look at sports like that because he played on the fact he's dead now. He went to jail for molestation.
Okay.
He died of AIDS. He is dead now. So everybody on our team didn't have a father but two.
Mm-hmm.
And he played that to the third. He played that. We were vulnerable kids, and he played that to the third power. So I remember saying to him, like, man, you like your dad, I don't have my grandmother lost. But she was saying there's something wrong with a man who always want to be around young boys. Why are you? I said, that's a coach. And when you're vulnerable at that time, and later on, as we would hear these rumblings, he said this. He told, this is what happened. He called me and said that somebody jumped on one of our friends because they making these rumors about him. And I ran out the back door into my grandmother's building. As I'm running through the park, I ran into the boy that he was talking about. And the boy told me, he told him the same thing about me. So, what if he lures us to that hospital?
Yeah.
Right? Once that changed everything. So, again, that's something else that changed my whole way of trust.
Yeah, so you talking about trust, I want to shift and how, because one thing you always hear, and I don't think it's always concrete and true, men don't talk, men don't express, men this, how do you suggest women in men like navigate that when a man struggles in that area?
First, have empathy. And if I could just, you a sister, so just paint this picture, right? When a boy is 3 years old, he falls down. What's the first thing they go? Okay, you okay? At 8 years old, get up, stop crying, right? At 10 years old, you better not be crying like a little girl. Toughen up. You can bust your head on the wall. Toughen up. You be bleeding. You applauded for going a distance. Now, you're 13. You better not. This is the teen years. This is testosterone. This is bravado. This is everything it is. This is about girls. You better not be crying over no girl. You better not be showing no emotion. Somebody hit you. You hit back. This is from 13 to 17. Then from 17 to 21, you really are now whatever is out here, chasing girls, uh, doing whatever, and you still ain't no emotion. This is boyhood still. And somewhere about 24, 25, you say, I'm going to get married. And then finally, your 30, your wife, your girlfriend says, they get talked to you. For the last 12 years, I've been told not to be real. I've been told not to cry. I've been told not to show emotion. What do you expect now? I'm saying have an empathetic ear for that right there. Because that's what we do. And especially you a black woman. You're like, if your mother died, you know, if one of your friends died, yeah. But because you hurt, because mentally you don't feel good, you can smoke and talk about that. You can't be sober. So if you can't talk to your guys, I come to you and you go, oh, being weak. I ain't used to that. Being soft. You being judged. You being belittled or criticized because you're standing on, I want to share with you. Or maybe being soft. Okay? Any of that comes about that. So what do you do as a video? Like, I'm just going to not talk to you. I'll keep it in. So what can you say to women being empathetic? Set times that we can be vulnerable. Encourage me being vulnerable. Encourage little boys to be vulnerable. Man, and if this is, you say women, but for brothers, if you got a boy, this is the time to start talking to him about showing his emotion and his being okay. Because other than that, they get programmed from day one.
Right.
So look, be strong.
Yeah.
Tighten up. No problem. Don't say nothing. And not just sisters, but the world. Black boys are judged. When the black boy goes to court, he is judged harder. He's judged like if he's 16, he's treated like he's 25, 35 and older. Anytime we are already treated harder, and young black girls are already looked at older than they are. So the world does not care about our emotions. Because the world, because the world cares about emotions, if you don't say about emotions. You would shoot them. You would jump them. You wouldn't put your knee in someone's neck and back. You don't do that to another human being.
Yeah.
But you can do that to, right? So if it's anything, have empathy for young black. And I'm not saying give him a pass, but having empathy, like, this is the first time he has a talk. He don't know what to do with his emotions. And when I'm in my sessions and groups with young black boys, I'm always like, I know this feeling is awkward. I know you don't like this feeling, but this is what humans do. It's okay for you to cry. Because if you don't find out, when you going to?
Yeah.
If you don't open up now, when you going to?
Yeah.
And mothers especially, please be mindful of calling your son soft or stop whining or act like a man. So when we hear that from mama, what you think we gonna do to the women we meet? You ain't gonna talk to me like that. I can't say nothing to her, but I'm gonna say something. You gonna get all of that.
That energy, yeah.
You gonna get it because I can't do it nowhere else. Right? So just be mindful of having empathy. Black boys will open up because we do it in hip hop. You rap it, that's what that is.
Yeah.
But it's more accepted because it's misogyny. It's tough. Bravado, right. So you can get away with it. But if you pull it away and go like, yeah, pop is really hurts.
Yep, strip it down. Yeah. You know, speaking of that and empathy, vulnerability, and all of that in hip hop, you know, Tupac was very expressive. You know, very in touch with himself, and was not afraid to speak his mind. Who was somebody in hip hop? Because you did grow up in an interesting time. Who was the person for you in hip hop?
The first, I taught you this. It go in phases, but the first time I heard the Message by Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, it wasn't that they were vulnerable, but they did paint a picture of the reality he was coming into. You know, a child is born with no state of mind. A child is born with no state of mind, right? Just period. What they would say, that whole thing. The places you play and where you stay looks like one great big alleyway. Yeah. You admire all the number book takers, big pimps, and hustlers, and the big money makers, drive the big cars, spending 20 and 10s, and you want to grow up to be just like them. That's you.
Yeah, just paint a picture.
Hey, I just saw that, right? Yeah. When I saw that, I was like, that's us. This is what we coming into, right? So, I remember Michael Jackson did beat him. Remember he beat him? And he said, they told you, don't you ever come around here. They playing with your life. This ain't no truth for there. They'll beat you and they'll kill you and they'll tell you it's fair. So beat it. I'm hearing it. I think when we heard Pac, and I was older, but when I heard Pac, funny thing, I didn't like Pac.
Okay. Interesting.
Because my little brother, that was their generation.
Yeah.
And when I saw him, I just saw my little brother. They went and seen the movie Juice.
Mm-hmm.
And Pac put the thug life on. And I'll never forget, they all came home with their head shaved.
Really?
They put the
and they put the thug life on?
Yeah, because they heard it. Now, when I heard that, I was like, okay, I didn't really understand Pac. You say empathy and understanding because you in it. I'm living in it real time. Until I heard Pac after he was killed. I sat there and listened.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, okay.
This is where he was coming from.
This is, which led me in, now I'm not in Chicago, I'm in Milwaukee. I'm hearing that.
Yeah.
I can clearly hear it, right? And then you start hearing, oh, wow, that's what it was. And then prior to him, Wu-Tang did the song about, on my way over here, I was listening to Cream.
Okay.
Right? And he said that part, he said, Shorty living wild, Shorty living foul, Shorty living foul, smoking cess and drinking beer, and ain't trying to hear what I'm kicking in his ear, right? So that's what it was. But he started a part in there where he said, I seek my old earth, right? I remember, and I got emotional because I remember when I was in that time, like 90-something, like, okay, I got to just get back, because I fell back into the old ground.
Okay.
I fell, right? I had went to film school.
Yeah. I
had did a film. I had did a play. I opened a record shop.
And slipped back in. Yeah.
Well, I think the hood have an expiration date.
Yeah.
You have to get out at a certain point. It's just the truth of the matter.
So you really, because your mind, it always starts with the mind first. Your mind shifts, but then everything else got to go with it too. Your body, your location, how you do
your circle.
Yeah, your circle, everything. And it's so hard for us to shift that because then you feel like you're leaving somebody behind. You're not loyal. All of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you normalize them. Mm-hmm. And you normalize what's not right. Mm-hmm. We used to have this thing in Chicago called the oops murder. Have you ever heard of that term? So oops murder is when there are people who do it, but if you make a mistake, really, it's literally a mistake. Like somebody comes at you, you had a machine gun go off.
Okay.
Right? Or they ran up on you. I'm not, justifying anything, but I'm just saying, we would say that he killed so-and-so. It was a oops murder. So it was this athletic star, Ben Wilson, one of the greatest ball players that ever come out of Chicago. He got killed when he was in high school. I was in
Now there's a documentary about
it. Yeah, 30 for 30. Benji. Yeah. I know exactly where I was when Benji got killed.
Really?
Oh, he's in the book. In my book, 1984, I talk about Ben Wilson, right?
Great documentary.
It's amazing, and it's Chicago to the 10th power. And when he got killed, we called that a oops murder because as you see, the guys like bag up and it happened. Right? I never realized that I had rationalized death and minimalized life until I was in Nashville 2 years ago. And they was asking me about the documentary. They said, well, this brother from Chicago. I said, yeah, man. He's like, did you know the Ben Wilson? I said, no, he's from the South Side, but I know the story, I know the players. And he said, well, man, how did he happen like that? I said, yeah, it was an oops murder. I will never forget the look of the loon. Mm-hmm. And me explaining. And for the first time, I was like, oh, my God.
Right. You had to process it.
We called it, you took somebody with it. We called it an oops murder.
And when you were talking, I was thinking, like, what does that do to people that has seen that much? And killers. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Like, what does that do to your mental? How do you see the world?
Can I answer in 2 words? Mm-hmm. One, again, have empathy because this is it. Think about when I grew up, you grew up. Think about your boys and your girls growing up that post-COVID. Think about them growing up that. This is a part of their day to day, right? This is a part, like, it was a part of ours. This is like a really part of their, I mean, what happened? Your mom got killed.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so got shot. You sit out there and they watch it. People be out there talking.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, think about this, right? The first time I knew someone that got killed was this guy named, this is what we call him Crazy Greg. He had mental issues prior to, but the neighborhood called him Crazy Greg. That's what everybody called him. Even us as kids. He got killed. I saw the night he got killed. I was in the window, and I'll never forget when the shotgun killed him, right? The sky lit up. That area lit up like a firecracker. And the guns went off. I saw it clearly from where I was. The next day, we 10 years old. This is 1980. Prior to that, he knocked at our back door. He was looking for my cousin.
Okay.
My cousin was in the house. My grandmother hid him. And she told me to get away from the door.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to see, and she pushed me down. Now, I run to the window, and I see him. And I saw when he got shot. And I remember the next day, the very next day, we went outside. I go to my friend's house. They live down the street. They live 2 doors from where he got killed. And this is exactly how we went. What's up, man? What's up? We play that football? Yeah. Hold up. This is where he got shot at. And this is where he bled at. And he ran over here. This is where he must have fell. Oh, man. That right there. That was the shoot. And we walked right over there and played football.
Yeah. Just like nothing happened.
We're 10 years old. There's no processing. There's no conversation. Nobody in the neighborhood talk about. We went. It's business.
And you know, in my mind, as you're talking, because it's taking me back to your biggest loss.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
A year later, almost a year later,
Yeah.
I would lose that.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it prepares you in a crazy way that life is not promised.
Right.
It also gives you a PTSD, right? And that whole thing, like, how people die every day.
And
right?
it, like it's a numbness.
Yeah.
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 When you become numb to, or you go, I ain't gonna deal with them, so keep on moving, right? Because this is a part of it, right? And it's crazy, right? This is 1980. In 3 to 4 years, the crack epidemic is about to hit everywhere.
Yeah.
My father dies right as this coming about. I'm coming of age right as this happens. You said, what does it make you do? You start looking at your world shrink. You don't sit with your back to the door. You notice I'm glad we like this, right? You watch everything. I watch everything.
Your instincts is on.
You're always on alert.
Yeah.
You're always on security, right? And you always consider. I can't speak of every black man, but I know most that come from where I come from. You do think it's a chance, even now, you know what you're doing. They can get you. Even though I'm doing all these positive things, they might find maybe I didn't file taxes right. Maybe I spoke out the wrong way.
I do hear that, you know, often.
Yeah,
Like,
they can get me.
and no matter how high you go,
They can get me.
you still have that in your mind.
Yeah,
Like, at any moment,
They can get me.
it can go off.
I'm driving through Wildwood Texas.
Yeah.
All my stuff is legit. When I see the police, I look in my mirror.
Yeah.
I go as far to get my speech ready.
Mm.
I go as far as I can.
But isn't that sad though?
It's very.
You know,
It's very.
yeah, it messes with your conscience and
It makes you with your confidence.
Yeah.
And it makes you not want to stand up because Eminem can apologize for everything he said and he'd be forgiven. If Pop was alive, they'd be like, yo, you said X, Y, Z. The Black Panthers and the Weathermen and Tom Hayden those guys. The Black Panthers have breakfast programs, etc., etc. They didn't get jobs in colleges. They got killed, ran off, living in exile, eating, barely getting strung out. The men and women who worked during that time who were quote unquote similar to the Panthers that were white, they cut their hair, put a shirt and tie on, put the dress on, go back to the King's English, and they all got jobs. They all One of them worked for The Rock. They were they went and got college degrees. They got paid for their experience. Huey P. Newton didn't get that opportunity. So again, here I am. I'm saying that I'm gonna always be on X because one, you heard it, you said Pulaski. That's a stigma. Wherever I don't care what I do, it's gonna be reminded.
No, I'll circle back.
So I always put it out first. Like how?
Yeah.
I'm a West Side boy. Yes, my mom battles drugs. Yes, my dad got killed when I was a boy. Yes, my friends were so and so. Now I did it. What you got to tell? I told you I would.
Yeah.
So you're always on alert. And the sad thing is that at 54 years old, I'm always. I mean, I'm not concerned about 6 years from now. Which I should have been, but I didn't think I would get this age anyway. So I didn't do no major saving, right? We was on survival. So now here we are at this age, and you're trying to, okay, how do you supposed to do this?
Yeah.
What do you do? It's also, that's why ulcers, like they say Dr. King died. When he died, he had the heart of a 65-year-old man.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Because of the stress and everything. So to combat that, I meditate like crazy. I'm you healthy. I journal like crazy.
Yeah.
And I find ways to release.
And remember one of the last times I talked to you, I was like, are you getting rest? You know, like, how are you? You know, because you do a lot. You do a lot for the people. And when you do a lot for the people, sometimes we don't, balance that out with rest. I know I've had a moment of burnout. And so for me, it's like, I need to make sure I do that moment once a year, where I just, it's about me.
Right.
Like, it's about me throughout the year. But
this is strictly
like
me.
taking that time because it's really, really real. And it seems like it's selfish, but it's not because you have to be your best self.
Right. Well, even feeling like it's selfish, that's right. See what I mean? That's as a human being, but especially with brothers. Like, I'm the oldest, right? So, and I'm a go-to, So the go-to people don't go, all right, you may ask me, am I right? That's far as you in between the others. Because even if they ask you, all right, it's followed by good. Because I need you to do.
Right. It's a follow-up.
If you can.
Yeah, it's a follow-up.
What you doing? Oh, I'm just cooling, man. Watch this. Hey, can you try me at? Or, hey, I'm doing this. And, can I go back to something? You get survivor's guilt. I have big survivor's guilt.
I mean, I often hear that, especially when you experience certain stuff like you have. So how are you navigating that? Like, what do
you have survivor's guilt, and also.
What is your therapist telling you to do?
I don't have it. I need one.
Do you feel like your work is your therapy?
I feel like, what's crazy, if I could be transparent, if I take therapy, I'll probably have to disassociate from so many people. Because some of the people can be bringing you the very trauma that you're getting and not letting you rest. And some of those things. So, before I answer therapy, can I go back to something you asked me? You asked me about knowing kids. Can I say this? They weren't born.
Right.
They weren't born.
Yeah.
None of us are born.
None of us are.
Right. It be over a period of time. If you read the book, Think and Grow Rich, right? In the book, he says, men are not born criminals. Because he refers to men in the book. He says, men are not born criminals. And tough times don't make you, but tough times introduce you to who you are character-wise. They say the first time you commit any type of crime or things that are against the law, there's a nervousness, there's a fear, like, I don't want to do this. The second time you do it, there's a nervous fear, but it's not big as well. The third time you do it, you find others and associate with those who do it. The fourth time you do it, now if you're associating with those, you've made it a way of life. Now, this is what we do. This is what we do.
Yeah.
So nobody, if this guy is saying, they say this dude is stone killer, which I know, right? That's not how it started out. But slowly but surely it became, because I believe anybody can at some point. Meaning that you kill my cousin, you my daughter, and some man beat you. The human in me lost revenge. the counselor anointing me goes, this is the way we got to handle it. But that's because I got understanding. But the average person is like, oh, I'm killing you.
Yeah.
That's who shot my cousin.
Yeah.
And I don't look like I'm killing. It's not, I'm killing them. I won't binge. Like, my mother cried, my auntie cried, right? My little cousin got killed. Right?
And the protection part.
And that's
Protection.
and also you ask,
Yeah.
what does it make you do? You want to be the protector. And you justify doing things. I want to be the protector. I don't know nothing happening to nobody. It makes you want access to power, right? Continuously saying, I got to protect mom. Where's the one of my people? She got to be protected. When they asked me to run for office, I didn't want to run for office so I could be in office. You know what I wanted to run for office? Because I want to have my people and my friends to have access to certain things because I have that power. Give them a job. Give them a grant. Build that school. I had access that they couldn't have.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with me. So, and you ask, so what do I do with my therapy? My writing is one way.
Okay.
I journal daily.
Okay.
Even when I'm not writing for my book, I'm journaling. I laugh because laughter helps.
And you have your new show now.
I got my show, right? I got my show.
Yeah.
And the books and things I read, like when we do a real man and talk, and the stuff I'm writing about, the books I read helps my work, right? Now, do I get exhausted? But I do this. Every year from September to October, it's about me. I'm a writer. I'm a travel. I take my camera. I swim. I do whatever. I didn't do any work. I don't care what people offer me. I work to save a certain amount, and I'd be like, hey, leave me alone. Now, my wife don't probably like that part, but that's the only way. My mom probably don't like that part. But as I said to them, that if Jay-Z said this in his movie, he said, in the Fade to Black, remember he was in the studio, and they came to get him to sign some papers. So he said, you stop the music for this? He's like, you stop the music for this? He said, you guys do know, if you stop the music, don't none of this exist. Protect the music.
Yeah.
So sometimes I have to say to people, if you stop me, all this stuff that we got going, this one exists. You do know that.
Yeah.
So protect me. I will protect you.
Yeah.
I'm going to protect you if you doing what you're doing. And I know you are integral to everything we do. You are instrumental, all of those things. My job is to protect Chris, to make sure she's straight. Don't get this, and this, so we can do that. We can be her best.
Be the best.
Right.
Yes.
So that's what, it's selfish, but we shouldn't even look at it selfish. We should look at it as wellness, because it's important for us. The evil people in the world doing what they doing, they don't have no qualms about being like this. I don't care. I don't care. I don't know, right? So we have to look at it the same way.
That's
Like,
so true.
they just took from this whole community. They over in Jamaica kicking. They all on Facebook. They celebrating their devastation to us.
Yeah.
All right? And we'll go, man, that's messed up. Well, when we win, and we win legitimately, that's why you'll see me on social media. Hey, me and so-and-so, we all over here. We got this music going, and we have a few cocktails and cigars, and because so-and-so just got a promotion. We have to show our best the same way.
Yeah.
Because that's what we fight.
Yeah. You do share your vibes.
I try to.
Yeah, you share your vibes.
I try to.
You bring everybody in. You make everybody feel, from my lens, you make everybody feel like family. You make everybody feel loved, safe, protected. And I really believe that's the roots you have, what you see, what you read, all of those things. Like, it has made such a beautiful human.
Thank you.
I am going to encourage you to do therapy.
Oh, I want to really bad.
Yeah.
No, I do. I just don't want. I tried to do it here,
Mm-hmm.
but they knew me too much. And I don't
Yeah.
think it was
Yeah.
therapy. It was more like,
Right.
oh, fine. I was like, no, I came here for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. So you
Right.
really it's a journey.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
a journey. I've done therapy before, and it was good. At
Yeah.
first, it was like, okay,
Mhm.
because when you do certain things and you're already working on yourself and your
Mhm.
wellness,
Mhm.
you're like, okay, do I really?
Do I really need
Yeah,
this?
like what is that gonna be like?
Right.
But it was a good experience.
Yes, I can imagine. No, it is. I want to trust
But you
just
have to find
Yes.
the right one
Right.
where you can feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, it's not a, I know you're trying to pull something
No,
out of
no,
them.
right.
You're really trying to go to that next dimension.
Right. Show me something. Well, I do have my Baba. And, you have to tell my Baba.
Yeah.
I have several different spiritual mentors that I call, and they'll tell me, like, for instance, when you speak, it's a thing that when you speak, right, you absorb an energies, right? So they say you should automatically take a cold shower after you speak. It's supposed to rinse out whatever you absorb in the first seconds. So I go through a whole process after that.
Okay.
And being I got the name Quabbin through the Rites of Passage program, there's certain, things you should do afterwards and before to get a protection around you and to make sure, you're centered. So I'm big on sage. I'm heavy on meditation. I'm big on meditation. Even if we can leave here and I'll go probably down to the water and just chill out. No talking, no writing. Just chill out.
Vibing out. Yeah. What's your diet like? What do you eat?
On my best days, I'm good.
Okay.
Like right now with this radio show, it's not been good because it's throwing my what's the name off. So I'm heavy on. I tried to do the keto right now.
You did.
Only reason I can't, I'm anemic. So I literally got what you call cold feet when I did. And I had low blood, so I could.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know. My feet was freezing.
Okay.
I thought I stepping some cold water on my way to the gym, but they were freezing. So I know that. So I'm heavy on water. I try to fast from the moment I wake up to about 4 o'clock in the evening.
Every day?
I try my best. Definitely on Tuesdays, but I try my best to do that because I've been juicing like crazy now. I do a lot of.
And you're in the gym.
Yeah, but the radio show. Because
you can show us, how you go in the gym.
Listen, because that's shout out to G. That's shout out to my good brother G from Garland Smith because when G was working out, he told me the physical ailments he had. He was telling me about it, but really, look, I was in California. And I'm in there, and I'm like, I'm going to go outside to the pool. I'm out of shape, right? And you in Cali, you can't be out of shape in the pool in Cali. But this is what blew my mind. I was standing there, and these two older guys, they probably my age, 60-something, and they were conversating about trust. It's like, oh yeah, man, you playing tournament with us? I got the knee sloped, that might be that. I was like, yeah. Like, they was talking like he was 20 years old.
Yeah.
And I was looking at like, okay, when I go home,
you got to get a
I can't.
Yeah.
My wife will go walk. I want to do that. And I think that whole process of what do you eat, you got to get back to it so it's embarrassing at first. I feel I'm an athlete. I went in the gym, I was so mad, so I could do 10 push-ups. My clothes, I didn't know how much weight I had. As you say, I know how much weight I had gained. I had no idea I was looking like that. And I put my shirt on to go to the gym, my stomach is all, I was like, I'm not going. I really did. I stopped because I was like, this is embarrassing. But one of my young friends was like, what's the problem? You helped me with speaking, man. I helped you. And that's what kept me in the gym.
But that's what it's about, that equal support.
Yes. That's what kept me in the gym. And plus now, as we see it, like, there's a fear of the cancer. And one fear is dying young. Right? When you get 50, you think, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
My turn at 50 was the worst that I got.
Really?
Oh, my turn at 40 was terrible. I lost a baby, turning 40. I lost my grandmother, uncle.
Wow.
And turning 40, right before that, me and my wife was going through the worst time ever. Right? I was not a good husband at the time. It was just bad. But I think, when I look back at it, I was afraid, I was scared.
And shout out to your wife because she's equally doing amazing things.
Yes.
I've talked to her before years back. And that dynamic you guys have for just building a community.
Yes, we should get people back, And that's what I mean. It was rough during that time. And I remember I was trying to explain to her how scared I was. I was trying to spoil my mother. I said, yeah, my grandmother's been going through Alzheimer's. It was just bad.
Yeah.
40 was terrible. 40 turning 50. I had a rough time. I had Bell's palsy, so I had a mouth. This side of my face wasn't working. And then, as you know, my good friend Caesar got killed. Mm-hmm. So I was like, this ain't supposed to be.
Yeah, and it just wasn't.
No, because I think we have our mind set that it's supposed to be a certain way. Mm-hmm. And now I'm 54, Lord willing, I turn 55. Mm-hmm. The biggest thing is, I mean, I've worked better at it, but the fear of dying. Like, because, I mean, Caesar did.
Crossed a lot of hurdles, like, the 25.
Yeah.
The 30, the 40, mm-hmm. The 50 threshold. So you crossed all those thresholds.
Right. But Caesar crossed every T, dotted every I, and he didn't make it. Magic Johnson, at the height of everything, next thing you know, he has HIV. How many stories you hear brothers, man, I did this, he got cancer. What's the name? Did this, he did that, he did this, and he got shot. Mm-hmm. Did this, and that, he had a stroke. You understand what I mean? Yeah. It's still a fear. And I mean, it's a mind thing, but it's still a fear. They ain't gonna let, I ain't gonna get there. Because if I get there, right, what is it gonna look like? Mm-hmm. I know we've crossed the threshold, but there's a selfishness and a fear of like I've had moments where I was like, oh man, everything is good. I got this much in the bank, mm-hmm. that happened, and this happened. And then you go, it's too many rainbows. The storm got to come, because we've been conditioned. Yeah. You got to take care of your parents now. You got family members you still have to deal with that need assistance, and then you're still dealing with the thing of, and people remind you that you made it out and they didn't. You never. Nathan McCall, if you ever get a chance, read his book called Makes Me Want to Hop. Mm-hmm. There's a part in there where he said him and his old cut buddy used to get down again. And he said when he went home, he was like, couldn't go over there and speak with him. And I was like, I'd never do that, man. I'd never do that. Then he goes further to say, me and this guy used to be out every day, get everything together, and look at it now. He's like, what am I going to tell him? I just got an article with the Washington Post, so-and-so, and I was like, I don't know about that. And I'm watching you now. I went home to one of my better friends, and we had just left a meeting with Harry Belafonte. We was in the room, we was in Kenneth Cole's house, Harry Belafonte, Dave Chappelle was in there, Talib Kweli, Chuck D, everybody in there, they waiting on us to speak.
Yeah.
Amazing. I learned, taught everything, right? Mm-hmm. When my guy asked me what I was like, I could not tell him. Wow. Because I know that would.
Yeah.
There are some friends I can go and tell never make them go. But there are some who go like, that's crushing, that's defeating. Because I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there. Don't get it wrong, I'm doing well. But I had a stretch while I was in Chicago. I left Chicago, I left several times, several things. One, I left because of a cousin. Two, I left because of the woman I was dealing with. She moved. Third, most importantly, I was out of college. I dropped out of film school, and the play had went bad. I was just in a terrible place. And I got back to the old plan because we go too much slow.
Yeah.
And I stopped hanging with them because I couldn't do that no more. Now I'm working at UPS. I mean, I got 4 hours a day. I am at the lowest, and the lowest is bad. And I wasn't even working there yet. I was just hanging. And my old college buddy came around the corner and picked me up. And we went back around our own squad, and they gave me. And when this dude was with us, remember he did this, and I'm feeling great. I'm thinking I'm back. And when he let me out the car, I remember getting out. He said, man, Tone, they called me Tone, man, this was love, man. I'm glad. I said, man, what made you come over here? He said to me, I knew if I rode up and down Pulaski long enough, I was going to find you.
And that just...
I just sat on my steps.
Yeah.
Just sat on my steps.
Yeah.
Nobody, though. I just sat there a lot.
Yeah.
Gotta go.
Yeah.
He said, and he didn't do a harm. He wasn't being mean. He just said,
but that was something you needed to hear.
I needed to hear.
You needed to hear that.
Oh, I was out. I was like, I'm not ready.
But you've had these moments where someone says something and it shifted.
It shifted everything.
Yeah.
It paused hard, and I remember when you say these. I remember just look. I took inventory for real, and I've always had those moments. Even living here, as you know, I threw the huge white party. I threw the very first white party, and a brother pulled me to the side and said, "I thought I see you in the White House, not the White House."
Mm.
It. You know, that was another moment.
Shift.
Like, and so it's always, and I think but here's the magic: we all have these. Mm-hmm. If you listening closely, somebody gonna remind you, like, sis.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? And they may not be people you care for. Yeah. They remind you. Even Caesar's death, you know, which took Caesar's death to this day still strikes a heavy core in me, right? Because that was like probably one of my greatest motivators. Mm-hmm. Well, here is my brother. They gonna take care of me, but I mean. I was with Caesar like every day.
Okay.
Almost every day. I gotta walk past his job at MPS.
Okay.
He'll talk and he like cry. You should rough off stuff.
Yeah.
Cry. You need this. Cry. You gotta come on, man. You know, you need to be having these conversations. Like, you know, and it was continuous to that. Right before he passed, he was like, "Man, I'm thinking I should maybe manage you."
Yeah.
And then
it just
it just happened. You know what I mean? So I think we all get those moments where we go.
And the person that's saying it to you, it's not always in a harmful way.
No.
Because they don't even know what you're experiencing emotionally, mentally, but you know. Mm-hmm. And so then when it happens, it's like, yep, time
it hits you right where it needs to be. But I knew one thing was that I could write. If I couldn't do nothing else, I could write.
And it's important to know what you know about yourself. You may not know everything,
but you know enough.
But you know something.
You know enough.